Welcome back, everybody. Today I want to talk about something that's pretty serious, and it's been on my mind a lot this year with my filmmaking. I want to talk about my experience with my art and my depression. Let's talk about it and just have a very simple conversation. Let's do this. First of all, I'm not a mental health expert, and I know there are many people out there that struggle with depression a lot more than I do. Calling what I've experienced depression might not even be the best word, and I don't want this conversation about my experiences to diminish or brush off anybody else's struggles by any means. Honestly, I just want to create a safe place to have a conversation, to start a conversation about something that I've dealt with in my work of filmmaking. And from the conversations I've had with my other filmmaker friends, I've seen that I'm not the only one who has these struggles. Dealing with depression in the creative arts world is a real thing, and I want to share my experience with that this year and the things I've done to help me overcome it. If you're dealing with depression or something similar with your art, then 100% get the help that you need, but also know that I see you and you're not alone. Filmmaking is freaking hard. Art is hard. It's emotional, and you're going to struggle. I promise you that. And the truth is it's not going away. So the first of this year, I directed the largest project so far in my film journey. It was the short doc that I released on the channel recently, and I'm just so proud of what my team and I were able to create. It was such a challenging piece for me creatively, technically, and emotionally. The entire process of making this 15-minute film took about 6 months, from pre-pro, production, and post. I was completely prepared to the best of my ability to take on the challenge of directing and leading the team with this big project. But what I was not prepared for was what happened after I made my final export. I have a hard time explaining what I felt during that time, but for about 2 weeks after the project was finished, I felt awful. I've never felt that way before. Even though I was proud of the film, even though I knew it was beautifully shot to the best of my ability and the story was interesting and compelling, even though the client loved it, I still felt empty. I felt sad. I felt alone. It was pretty weird because the film was received so well by everyone who watched it. And I know it's not perfect, and there are things I would change about it even now. But overall, it was pretty good. But inside me, I still felt like a failure. I think I felt this way for two main reasons. First of all, when you pour your soul into something for months and months, and then it's just over, it's done, and people get a few minutes of enjoyment and say things like, "Oh, that was nice. Wow, that was beautiful." See, those compliments are nice, but they just don't refill the soul. And secondly, this story was super deep personally and emotionally. The character had some really deep and emotional things from his past, and I lived that for 6 months. I lived and breathed this story all day, every day for those 6 months. That's a lot of time to be thinking about deeply emotional and spiritual things. I reached out to a friend who's been in the film scene for over 15 years, and I asked his advice. And he sent me this voice memo, and this is what he said.
What you're feeling is normal. I know that I'm going to feel depressed after a big project is over, and that's just how I'm wired. Is like, you have such a mission for, a good part of the year when you're doing a big project, and you put everything, every ounce of energy, mentally, creatively into it that you can, and then when it's over, it really does mentally F you up. So I would just try to encourage you to embrace the rest and listen, for where your next big project is going to be, and don't try to rush into it, because you need that rest to really make the best of the next one.
If you have ever made something of significance, then you can probably relate to this on some level. This isn't specific just to me. So what did I do to help fill the void and overcome it? I did two main things. Number one, I rested. I took a break from any project that was super emotional. Not a super long break, just enough till I felt like I was rested enough. And lastly, I created something just for me that I thought was fun. Something that was purely fun and creative, not for a client, not for anybody else, but just for myself. It pushed me out of the slump and made me use my creative muscles, but it didn't stress my emotions. I didn't try to make some masterpiece or try to one-up myself. I just hit record and made something. I'm not sure if anything that I've said today has helped in some way, but I really do hope so. I want this to be the start of a bigger conversation. I want to continue the conversation in the comments. If you're struggling, please reach out to me on Instagram if you want to talk further. I hope to have more conversations like this on the channel with other filmmakers and share their experiences in the future. I just really think this would be a great platform to do that and could help a lot of people. So that's all I got for today. Please subscribe. Have a great day. Peace.